Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about print-on-demand everything. So if that is something that you're interested in, please hit like and subscribe and stick around. So in today's video, I'm going to go over how to create this design style right here. What this is sort of cutouts. So the silhouettes are actually cutouts, so you can put it on any color shirt you want and it will show through where the silhouettes are. And it's sort of got the grunge colored boxes. So I want to show you how you can do this technique, and then of course you can use pretty much anything you want and any colors you want going forward to do this design style. And I've seen this selling quite a bit on Amazon lately, which is why I chose to do this video. If you're interested in learning how to do this, go ahead and stick around. Okay, so I am on Canva's homepage right now, and we are going to be making a winter sports design. As we are fast approaching the new year, we want to start thinking about Q1, and so the beginning of Q1, winter, right? Winter sports, people are on, winter breaks, snowboarding, skiing, all that fun stuff. So we're going to do a couple of those videos this week. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a custom size. So in the top right hand corner of the page, I'll hit custom size. I'm going to select 4500 by 5400 pixels. I am going to be designing for a t-shirt today. I will select black as my background color. Perfect. And then so for today's design, we're going to be doing some cutouts. And so in order to do that, we're just going to start with some rectangles. So if you hit R on your keyboard, it is going to pull up a box. Now we can go ahead if we want to change that box to a nice white color. And then from there, you can pretty much play with the size, shape, everything of the box. So I'm going to go ahead, start here. I'm going to hit Control D, just duplicate it. And I'm going to start with a couple boxes here, maybe another box here, and then maybe another box here. So I'm thinking something like that. And now we're going to play with the alignment. One thing that you can do that makes it a little bit easier is if you pull up your rulers and guides. So I have my rulers and guides here on the side. So if you hit Shift R on your keyboard, it should pull up your rulers and guides. From there, you can pull out lines. So if you want to have a center line there, you can do that. That way you kind of know where the center is and how far you want to go, where your borders may want to be. So if I want to have, border here, there's my normal border. I can put a border over here and it'll pop up. There we go. So now I have a good idea of kind of where I want to work. And I can come down here too and do the same thing. Just put a little there. So I've got my kind of frame that I want to work in. And so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bottom one and I'm going to bring it kind of all the way down. And I'm going to bring it out. So I'm going to have a little bit of a gap here. This one is also going to come down. I want them to be in alignment with each other, but this one's going to go all the way out to the side, and it might be a little bit more narrow. And then I've got this one. This one's going to be nice and tall. I'm going to bring it out to the side. I'm going to bring it down. I want them to have pretty equal spacing, so it looks something like that. So I've got different shaped rectangles. I'm going to do another one here. This one maybe not quite as high, and maybe a little bit longer there, something like that. So that's a nice one, and I can make that one maybe pretty wide. And then one more here. And of course you can play with these pretty much however you want. So, they don't have to be anything particular. So there I've just got some different shapes. Oop, made a sail. And so that's what I'm going to be starting with. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some silhouettes in these shapes. I'm going to do a little cutout. And then we're going to go ahead and put some, grunge color masks over the cutout. So it's actually pretty easy to do. So we're just going to go over to the left-hand side of the page where you see the Elements tab. You can go ahead and click that. And from here, you can do a search for, anything you want. It can be any sport or any activity. For this one, I'm just going to do snowboarding. And I'm going to go to See All for graphics. And I'm going to start pulling out some of these silhouette snowboarders and see what I've got and if I can make any of them kind of fit where I want. And so if they already fit in a particular box, that's great. If not, we'll crop and see what we have to do to make it look like it goes. But like this one here seems to fit in that box actually relatively well. So there's one that I can use. I can keep coming down. Most of these look a little bit more horizontal than vertical. So here's another one that's a little bit more, oops, that one's pretty squared. All right, here's a nice vertical looking one, and I can put a vertical one maybe in one of these boxes here. So yeah, it's actually a little wide because of the snowboard. Maybe I should go, and I can use any of them I want. I don't have to use all of them, by the way. I can use pretty much anything I like. And there's one. That one's kind of cool. I like this one. That one looks like it'll go nicely. And what we can do here is, again, we can play with the boxes. So I can make that box maybe a little bit wider. So something there might look good. I can take this box too and make it a little wider if I need to. We've got one more box to work with. So I'm still looking for some more snowboarders. And so I'm just trying to find something that I think will look good and sort of fit my box as well. And so that's pretty cool. I like the way that looks. We might even go with another box if we had to make this a little bit less vertical. So most of these seem that they're a little bit wider than they all are, you know, tall. There's some skiers there too that you could use. Some more snowboarders. So it's skateboard right there. Some cool things. And so we're just kind of looking to see what there is. Once you've kind of picked out your designs, you know, and take your time doing that, we'll go on to the next step. So after playing with it a little bit, so I've kind of played with the silhouettes and I played with the sizes of the boxes to get something that I thought looked like a good layout and, you know, would fill the shirt pretty well. Everything's pretty evenly spaced. So I think I'm happy with the way all of this is looking. Once I have that the way I want, I need to make sure every one of these figures is just the same color of black as the backdrop because I need these all to be exactly the same. So it looks like it's pulling up lots of different shades. So I want to make sure that every single one of these is the same shade of black, because when I do a background remover, I want to remove just this one color of black. And so it should now all be one color. So now if I come up here, there's just that one shade of black and then white. And so you really want it to be that there's only two colors on the page. And so that is what I want to do. So far, so good. Now, one other thing I'm going to do is when I do the background remover, I want it to remove all of the black. You want to make sure that the black is a big part of your page. So at this point, if it doesn't work, one thing you may end up doing is grouping all of these together, shrinking them down so they're a little smaller in the page, just so you've got more black in case the background remover doesn't work so great. So what we're going to do is go ahead and save this right here. So I'm going to save this as snowboard frame. And we're just going to download it. Now I'm going to download this as is, so I don't want a transparent background. So for this, I need to have the black background. So I'm just going to download it as is. And once it's downloaded, what I'm going to do is add a page. And then what we're going to do is you can go over to your uploads, upload files, and you can upload what you just downloaded. Perfect. And once you've got it, you can go ahead and move it on to another page. Now, to make sure everything works well and you can actually see what you're doing, you may want to take the second page and just go ahead and temporarily change the background color to something a little lighter. That way you can see. So now that I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and do a background remover. So I'm going to go to Edit Photo, and I'm going to do just background remover. And if it works right, it should get rid of all of the black. If not, we might have to do a little bit of fiddling. So it did not get rid of the black. It looks like it got rid of the white and kept the black. And so what I need to do to fix that is going to be what I mentioned before. I'm going to go back up to this one. I'm going to go ahead and group all of these together. So I've got one group, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shrink them down in the page. So I'm just going to go ahead and shrink it way down. And at this point, I can get rid of these lines too, because they were just kind of annoying me. And so now what we've got is it quite a bit smaller in the page. Perfect. And so now we're going to try this again. So go ahead, download. There we go. Repeat the process. We'll upload the next version. Perfect. And let's try it again. There we go. So that time it worked, and that time it worked perfectly. And so really the only difference is I shrunk this down in the page so that I had more black. And in doing so, it interpreted the background as black. Whereas in the first time we did it, it interpreted the background as white, and it kind of made a mess of it. And so sometimes you will have to do a little bit of troubleshooting, and it's actually good that you saw that, because I know some people try it, have the problem, and then don't know what to do to fix it. And so that is one thing you can do if your cutouts aren't working properly is, one, make sure that you just have two colors. So make sure your background color and your silhouettes are all the same shade of black, and then shrink your design down so that you have more black in the background than obviously the white. That way the computer will read it as black and remove the right stuff. So now I've got my cutout frame. And from here, what I can do is very easy. I can just go ahead and blow it up nice and big so that it fills the whole page again. Perfect. And so that looks pretty good right there. Something like that. Might even move it over a little. So now I've got my frame, and from here, if I want to, by the way, I can change the background color back to black. And so now you can see how that's going to look. So this is my cutout frame. And so I'm going to title this Cut Out Snowboard Frame. And I'm going to download this, and this time I am going to have a transparent background. So I'm going to hit transparent background, make sure on this one I just do page 2, because that's all I want, and hit download. And that is going to be a frame. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mask over the frame. And so the mask I'm going to do is just going to be some solid colors, and you can do grunge or anything else that you want. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to do the rectangles again. So I'm going to pull up a rectangle, and I'm going to cover each one of these boxes essentially with a rectangle of a different color. And so I can pick whatever colors that I want. So let's say that I was to start and I want some sort of tanner shade. So let's go with something there, dark enough that it's going to show up on a white background, but also light enough that it's going to show up on a dark background. So it's kind of good for both situations. Perfect. Next, I'm going to do another rectangle. Oops, I'm going to hit R, cover up this one, and this one I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it sort of a yellowy shade. Oops. If you accidentally move anything, just hit your undo button here, and it'll put it right back, so you don't worry about having moved anything. And so this one, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to make this a nice shade of yellow. And so I can play with it, or I can just leave it that nice bright yellow. I might leave it there for now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up another rectangle. And so every time I do this, I'm just hitting R on my keyboard, and it's just pulling up another rectangle. And I'm just totally covering up my frame. And let's go with some sort of shade of red. I'm going to make it a little bit of a lighter red. Maybe something like that. Again, another rectangle. Perfect. Let's make this one maybe a bluer shade. You can pick any colors you want. So something like that. Two more rectangles, another rectangle here. I think I'm going to make this one sort of a greenish shade. Again, just sort of playing with that. And then one more rectangle. I'm going to make this one probably orange. And let's go with orange. Okay, so once I've got my boxes covered, I'm also going to do a little grunge texture on this because I think grunge might look good. So I'm going to go back up to Elements, and we'll just do a search for maybe grunge texture. And you can pick any grunge texture you like. And essentially what you're going to do is go ahead and kind of cover it. And so you can see where you want everything to line up. If you want, you can, you know, do multiple grunge textures. I can do a grunge texture per box if I want it to be really fine. If I, you know, pull it out, it's going to be really big and I'm going to have a lot of sort of larger spots. So you can decide just how much you want to do. You could do splatter backgrounds too. Oh, made another sale. So if I did like a splattery background, something like that, and I could use different textures for different boxes as well. So I don't have to have the same texture in each box. I mean, if I don't want to, and I can even crop these down if I want to. So you can pick how much texture or what kind of texture you want. You want to keep it relatively light. I mean, you don't want it to be too dark. Something like that. Maybe I bring that there. So maybe some boxes have a little more texture, some boxes have a little less. I need one more texture for this one, and of course I could have picked anything I wanted to. If I do it like that, that's going to be really, really textured. Again, I can always crop it to the size I want to. So if I decide I want the texture there, I can go ahead and do that. And so now I've got little bits of texture in each box, and they're all just a little bit different. And so this is cool. So these are each going to make masks that are going to go over your overall frame. Now the reason that I didn't do these colors initially, because I could have picked each one of these rectangles to be each one of these colors, is because I wanted the cutouts to work really well, and it's a lot simpler if you just have the two colors. You could try it with different colors, you know, here, but it may not, you know, work perfectly, and if that's the case, then it's just easier to do the white. At any rate, I did want to do the texture over it, so this is just how I'm going to make that work. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put snowboard mask, and now I'm going to download this, and I'm downloading page 2, and it doesn't need to be a transparent background. It really won't make a difference because it's only going to fill in the frame. So we're just going to let that download. And then this is a really easy part. So if you haven't seen my videos before, I use Photopea a lot for clipping masks. If you have, then you know these steps. Clipping mask is super easy and super quick and super free to do on Photopea. So literally, if you type photopea.com into your browser, you should pull up a page that looks just like this. All you have to do is hit open from computer. That's going to pull up your downloads. And then what you're going to want to do is start by selecting the frame. So your cutout frame, and give it a second and it will open. And there is my cutout frame. And so now from here, what I'm going to do is go to the top left-hand corner, hit File, put Open and Place. Make sure you get Open and Place. It'll pull up your downloads again. This time you select the mask, and it's going to put the mask right over the top. Now, little caveat, because I know people have had a little difficulty with this in the past. I've never had any difficulty with this, so I'm not, you know, always entirely sure what your guys' problems might be. But just so you're aware, it should look like this. Your mask should completely cover your frame. It should be on top. When you go over to your layers on the side, there should only be these two layers. So you're going to have your background layer, that's the frame, and you're going to have your mask layer. The mask layer is going to be on top, and it's going to be the one that's highlighted, okay? So if I was to click here, that one's no longer highlighted. Got to make sure that that one's highlighted and that it's on top. Assuming your page looks like this, you really should have no problem. Only other thing I can think is if you're using maybe a different internet browser. I use Chrome and I've never had a problem. So from here, I just go to the top where it says layer. I click layer. Halfway down, it says clipping mask. I click that and boom, it puts my clipping mask right over my frame. And it's really that fast and that easy, just a couple clicks. From here, I'm just going to export it. So I go ahead and go File, Export as a PNG. It'll take a sec. From here, you can rename it if you want to. You can do grunge, colored snowboard. however you want. It's still a PNG. Everything should be the same. All you have to do is hit save. It'll save it real quick, and from there you can jump right back over to your Canva page. So it really should be that fast, that easy, that free. From here, if I want to see how it's going to look, I can hit add page. I can go over to my uploads. From here, I can hit upload files. I can upload what I just downloaded, and boom. So there it is. And so you can tell it's a cutout, because if I was to change the background color to anything, you can see I'm going to get different backgrounds in there. So I can, anything you want, but it's going to look best typically on black. So there it is on my black. And from here, you can make sure that you've got it sized however you like. So right there, it's covering the whole page. I can make it a little bit bigger if I want to. I can pull my center line out too to make sure I've got it perfectly centered where I want. That is not, where's my 20? There's my center line. So I want it to be right about there. And right there, that's perfect. And so this is the design that I would then go ahead. You can put this on a sweatshirt, you can put it on a t-shirt, phone case, tote bag, I mean, pretty much whatever you want. And you can use this technique in different orientations too, to meet whatever, you know, design you want. Right now it's more vertical because it's for a shirt, but let's say you wanted to do something like this for a tote bag. No problem, just make a square frame and just make your, you know, design fit the square. But you can use this technique for all sorts of things. And of course, it doesn't have to be snowboarders. It could be anything you can possibly think of. It's just that as we're hitting, you know, winter sports season, snowboarding was the thing that came to mind. And of course, you can alter the colors and everything else. So that is it. It is ready to go. If you have any questions about this, drop it in the comment section below. I will try to get back to you as quickly as I can. If you have requests for videos, you can drop that in the comment section below. I will be having a lot more videos for Q1 coming up here. So we're going to do another winter sports one this week. And then next week, we'll look at probably some Chinese New Year and some Valentine's Day and just start, you know, working on our new year. I hope you guys are still having a great Q4. I hope you guys are making a lot of sales, and I do hope to see you guys again. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.